Hello, this is a review of short review of H.G. Wells' The Time Machine. That's a nice hardback copy I've got of the many editions have been of this novel. Um, this one's published by. Let's see if I can find out who it's published by. House of Stratus. Published by House of Stratus. It is lovely. There's the print. Whoops. H.G. Wells. I have to say something about his importance as a writer. He wrote three seminal works of science fiction. This one, Time Machine, War of the Worlds, and The Island of Dr. Moreau. Now, him and Jules Verne were the earliest of the sci-fi writers, and of course, since then, there have been many thousands of science fiction novels, and Wells, especially in Time Machine and War of the Worlds, created, I don't know whether he initiated them or not, but he certainly defined certain common themes of science fiction. One, time travel, of course, in the Time Machine, and the concept of the alien invasion, or theme of the alien invasion, in War of the Worlds. And Providence provided us with the very best of writers to start off, or to create these seminal works in the genre. I'll just to display his storytelling and descriptive skills, I will read the first paragraph of the novel. The time traveller, for as it will be convenient to speak of him, was expounding a recondite matter to us. His grey eyes shone and twinkled, and his usually pale face was flushed and animated. The fire burned brightly, and the soft radiance of the incandescent lights in the lilies of silver caught the bubbles that flashed and passed in our glasses. Our chairs, being his patents, embraced and caressed us rather than submitted to be sat upon, and there was that luxurious after-dinner atmosphere when thought runs excuse me, when thought runs gracefully free of the trammels of precision. And he put it to us in this way, marking the points with a lean forefinger as we sat and lazily admired his earnestness over this new paradox, as we thought it, and his fecundity. You must follow me carefully. I shall have to controvert one or two ideas that are almost universally accepted. The geometry, for instance, they taught you at school, is founded on misconception. And from then, the time traveller went on to explain the nature of time. The basic story is that this guy, he's sat with his friends who are prominent members of the Victorian community. And he's explaining how he's invented this time machine. Now, his story that he relates is that he travels into the very far distant future, thousands and thousands of years, hundreds of thousands of years. And this is how the adventure begins, or began. He encountered a society in which there were youthful, healthy, merry, sort of pacifistic people who did not have to struggle to live. And on the other hand, there were underground dwellers who he discovered had sank into the ways of cannibalism, and they were actually abducting and eating the surface dwellers. He goes through various adventures. A young woman becomes attached to him, and she dies at one point. This is kind of romance. It's a scientific romance, but this in the sense of romantic interest. She's that element, and he loses the time machine, and the Morlocks, the underground dwellers, steal the time machine, but he recovers it, and he helps to destroy the power of the Morlocks. But the interesting thing about this great adventure story, and the only criticism there is of it, at least from my point of view, is a bit short. If this novel was written more recently, it would have been about 3 volumes, But it's packed full of detail. So Providence had provided the ideal, the best writer to write these seminal works of science fiction. Now, there's much of Victorian social and even political and scientific background in this novel. You can learn a lot about Victorian England, Victorian society, through reading it. There's the existence of the time traveller himself, the scientists. The scientists were probing, questioning at the time. They were very heroic. And the prediction of the lower classes revolting against the ruling class, or the bourgeois class, is also encapsulated here. I suppose one message could be derived that make sure you don't oppress the workers, or they'll eat you. That's my rather crude iteration of the concept, but there was probably talk of time travel in Victorian England, with all sorts of questions being asked amongst scientists. And it's significant that his friends in the late 19th century, the time traveller was addressing at the beginning. They formed typical part of the governing class of Victorian society. And Wells was a bit of a lefty. He's been thought to have been a socialist, of course. Now, Wells himself didn't come from a privileged background. He was never rich, but he became a literary hero. Became very distinguished. He's the first hero, I think, of science fiction. And his the themes of time travel, and of course with the War of the Worlds, alien invasion, must have had thousands of manifestations since then, not only in novels, but in movies and TV shows also. Now, what else have I got? I'd just like to, it's a must read for any science fiction fan or any literature fan or even a general reader. It's so well written that you don't have to have a particular interest in sci-fi or any particular genre in order to enjoy it. But I'd just like to, in conclusion, read a paragraph from Victorian Literature and Culture by Maureen Moran. Now, Maureen Moran was one of my favourite lecturers when I was studying English for a degree in college, and I was delighted to get this book, which is a kind of rejigging of her PhD thesis that she did, well, obviously before she became, eventually a professor of literature, specialising in Victorian literature. Now, let me see. Where are we? Yes, here we are. I'll just read this paragraph. Discovery through adventure connected fictional entertainment to serious social comment. The scientific romances of H.G. Wells, the first forays into science fiction, challenged many Victorian attitudes through their distinctive combination of the marvellous, the factual, and the speculations about the future. An exciting encounter with new worlds is central to The Time Machine, published in 1895, The Island of Dr. Moreau, published in 1896, and The War of the Worlds, published in 1898. However, Wells' imaginative blend of evolutionary theory, scientific jargon, realist narrative methods, and utopian themes ensure stories of danger and survival also make readers reflect on contentious issues, the cruelty of vivisection, the oppression of the proletariat, and the dubious morality of imperialism. So, I think we'll conclude with that. And this is Sherwyn Green saying bye-bye.